So, let's talk about one of the most powerful tools out there for planning your legacy, the trust. Think of it like a financial roadmap for everything you've worked so hard to build. And today, we're going to explore the two main paths you can take on that journey. You know, it's a question we all think about at some point, right? You've put in the work, you've built something meaningful, and you want to make sure it gets to the people you love without any hitches. Well, the answer, pretty much always, comes down to smart planning. And all of this falls under the big umbrella of estate planning. It's the whole strategy. But inside that strategy, trusts are a really key player. So let's dive into the first of the two major types. All right, let's call our first route the path of flexibility. This is the revocable trust. You might also hear it called a living trust, and honestly, that name fits it perfectly. Here's the most important thing to get about a revocable trust. You are still completely in control. You, the person who creates it, you're called the grantor, you haven't handed the car keys to anybody. You're still the one in the driver's seat, deciding every turn. And that flexibility, it's everything. Since you're still in control, you can change your mind whenever you want. You want to add a new property to the trust? Go for it. Take an investment out? No problem. Change who gets what? You can do that too. The whole plan only gets locked in after you're gone. So why would you go this route? Well, the perks are huge. First off, it helps your family skip probate court. That's the court process for settling an estate. And believe me, it can be long, it can be expensive, and it can be a real headache. Second, it's private. A will becomes public record, but a trust, nobody needs to know the details. And all the while, you've got total command over your assets. Okay, now let's switch gears and look at our second option, the path of protection. This is the irrevocable trust. And as you're about to see, this path is designed for a completely different set of goals. Remember how with the revocable trust, you kept the keys to the car? Well, with this one, you're handing them over. When you set up an irrevocable trust, you are permanently moving your assets out of your name and into the trust's name. And once it's done, it is done. An irrevocable trust generally can't be changed or canceled. The terms are set in stone. And that's a massive step because legally speaking, those assets are no longer part of your personal estate. Okay, so you're probably thinking, why on earth would I give up that much control? That's a fair question. The answer is pretty simple. Powerful protection. Because the assets aren't technically yours anymore, they can be shielded from things like creditors or lawsuits. For larger estates, it can also seriously reduce estate taxes, and it might even help with qualifying for government benefits down the road. And this really brings us to the heart of the matter, the big crossroads. When you're choosing a trust, the decision almost always boils down to this fundamental trade-off, control versus protection. Let's just put them side by side, because this makes it super clear. With a revocable trust, you get all the control, all the flexibility, but the assets are still seen as yours, which means they could still be vulnerable. On the other hand, with an irrevocable trust, you get maximum protection, but to get it, you have to give up control. We can actually boil it down even more than that. Just ask yourself, what is my primary goal? If your answer is, I want flexibility and control right now, then the revocable path is probably for you. But if you're thinking, my main goal is asset protection and maybe some tax benefits, then you're likely heading down the irrevocable path. So we've kind of laid out the map, right? We've looked at the two main roads. Now it's really about choosing your own personal destination. So take a second and just think about your own situation. What are you really trying to accomplish for your family's future? When you get right down to it, what's more important to you? Control or protection? And it's so important to remember this. There is no single right answer for everybody. Your life, your finances, your family, they're all unique. So your estate plan has to be unique too. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. Now look, these are pretty complex legal instruments. So the absolute most critical next step on your journey is to take what you've learned today and go have a chat with an experienced estate planning attorney. They're the ones who can help you build a plan that is perfectly tailored to you. At the end of the day, planning your estate isn't just about assets and legal documents. It's about shaping your legacy. It's the story you're leaving behind for the people that you love. The only question left is, how do you want to write that next chapter?